With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
Winback Farm of Delaware is proud to present 3 new stallions for 2022. Each with 3-year-old Colt Pacer of the Year he's watching with over $1 million in career earnings. Multiple stakes winners sports column with a sizzling 149 at 1 mark, and Yonkers Trot winner Top Flight Angel with nearly $1 million in career earnings. Also, Heston Blue Chip, a proven sire of stakes winners, will now stand at Diamond Creek Farm of Pennsylvania with earnings over $1.7 million. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com.
I'm here at Spring Garden Ranch with trainer Brian Brown. Brian, let's jump right in on some of these 2-year-olds. Tell me the first about a 62 Ohio sale purchase, Hey Momma.
This is a pretty nice filly down by the seaside. I've got 3 seaside fillies, well, actually a 4th one, but 3 that are doing really good. This is one of the better ones. She could, of the 3, I can't tell you who's the better one yet. We've been in 25, so we're, not anywhere to say which one's the best, but nice attitude, right in a bit, wants to go.
One of those other 3 that you mentioned, the Seaside Fillies, 80,000 at Lexington, windy day at the beach.
Yeah, she's another one really nice. She must have got kicked in the field when we first got here. She came up lame one day out of the blue. Gave her 3 weeks off. She's been perfect since. Little taller, longer legged than Hey Momma, but they're both really nice fillies.
Rounding out the set of the 3 Seasides, Game Set Match, a $30,000 Ohio purchase.
Well, if she was 30, I think she's a steal right now because she's as nice as the other 2. Maybe she doesn't have the breeding maybe behind her, the other 2. That's probably why she didn't bring as much, but she can go right with the other 2.
What do you think of the first year Stay Hungry's Hungry for You $35,000 Harrisburg purchase?
Yeah, I think the reason this one didn't cost as much, I had her brother last year. Ario Hanover. He's going to turn into a really good horse this year if he stays sound. He only raced once last year. Him not racing much probably brought her price down. But I have 3 Stay Hungrys, 2 fillies, a colt. I like the one colt and filly a lot. The other one is coming around, but this one's going to make a nice filly.
That's the insider trading information, I always call it, because I watched Ario Hanover train today, and I actually stopped to look and see what horse it was. So it looks like you're right there. That was some inside knowledge that you had.
Right. I think this is going to be a nice filly. She cut a shoulder, just cut the skin, so she missed a week. We had to stitch it. So she's a little bit behind the better ones or the faster ones, but she's a pretty nice horse.
Let's talk about the Indiana bred Lay All Your Love on Me from the Hoosier sale. I Tell It Like It Is, $65,000.
Another nice filly, great attitude, pretty relaxed, but will go wherever you want her to go. Has improved a lot since she came down here, but she can go wherever we want to go with them. We've been 25 with most of them, a little better, but just trying to go slow enough I don't ruin any before I get out of here.
Gotcha. Tell me about the flashy, beautiful $100,000 purchase, Gatlinburg. I love her.
Well, this one, like you said, big black filly with white speckles through her, big white face, white socks, tall, long-legged. She might be my biggest 2-year-old down here, tallest. But great gait, it just floats over the ground, really laid back. But all you have to do is ask her, she'll go right forward.
Let's talk about Gatlinburg. You actually purchased her for yourself from Diamond Creek.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I got the idea from Dr. J because at Hanover, of course, she stayed in on like Elver and some other good horses. And I was like, I mean, sometimes we do have a little more info because we're with the yearlings a ton, and I just was like sure that this is a good yearling, at least a classy horse, because the mare's 2 for 2, and I love this Sweet Lou filly from the time she was a foal. So I told everybody, like, if you buy this horse, please let me stay in. And I thought for sure Burke would buy her because they've got the other two brothers, but I think they backed off and there was a good auction. So she brought $100,000 on day 4 for Country Club Acres, who put me in with their partners. So some classy partners, which was always fun. And so I'm just appreciative. You know, I've got 10% of a filly that Brian really likes, and it's kind of a dream come true for me.
Well, you had 3 in the Breeders' Crown last year of the pacing colts. Let's talk about the ones that you have this year, starting their 2-year-old season. Chronicle, a $230,000 Kentucky purchase.
He was late coming. He had an OCD or something that we had to wait on. But so he's a little behind. He's only been in 35, but I'm sure he could go 25 if we wanted. Not a real big colt, but growing, but nice and solid, thick. So he should be okay.
You gave $117,000 in Lexington for a Sweet Lou, Bugaboo Lou.
Right now, he's probably my best Pennsylvania colt. He's another one with a lot of white and flashy, but very racy. You know, sometimes you worry they get a little too racy early and they may not be as good later when you do ask them to go fast. But right now, I don't think that's the case. Big, strong horse, so I think he'll keep right on going.
How are you correcting that problem if you see something where they are getting a little racy this early?
Usually ear hoods first, and you know, maybe a mini bit or something, a crescendo bit, and then if that doesn't work, then I start opening their bridle up.
Okay, moving on now to Willy Fast, $100,000 Kentucky purchase. I love the name. Tell me a little bit about this colt.
He's a down by the seaside. We got him from Sugar Valley Farm, same place Gulf Shores came from. Another nice colt. He's not a flashy colt either, similar to Gulf Shore. He's got more white on him, makes him stand out, but he's kind of lazy on the track, which is okay for a down by the seaside. But he'll go when you ask him to. So right now, I would probably put him right at the top of the list of my Ohio breds.
Okay, tell me about your Stay Hungry colt, 7 colors, $93,000 Kentucky purchase.
I was really shocked we got him, even though $93,000 isn't cheap. But he's out of a full Sister to Better's Wish. So he's not a tall horse. He's grown some, but he's really, really thick. On the lazy side too, which right now it's okay. I'm probably going to have to open his bridle up to wake him up, but not ready to do that yet. He'll go, you just got to make him do it, but coming along pretty good.
Let's move on to Around Midnight, an $80,000 Lou purchase.
This colt's been okay. He got out of the stall the other day and cut a leg, but that doesn't seem to be a big deal. He was a little slow to come around too, but he's been improving a lot here in the last month.
Parole Violation, a $13,000 Ohio sale purchase.
Yeah, he's just a little big bad John, but you know, he gets out there and he mixes it up with them and stays right with them. He's probably my smallest horse, and I'm not a big fan of smaller horses, but as long as they try, it doesn't matter.
Course of Action, $11,000 out of Kentucky.
Yeah, I think he had a brother. He's a Captain Treacherous that wasn't real good. Didn't stand perfect at the sale, but the Robinson brothers bought him back. This is a pretty nice horse. As long as he doesn't get to one knee too much, which it's the right knee, so it's better than the left, but this could turn into a really nice horse.
How about the attitudes on the 2-year-old fillies that you're seeing right now? How do you keep them nice and sweet?
Well, right now it's generally up to them. And you know, you try not to overdo it to make them sour. But right now I've got 4 fillies, maybe 5, that are as good as my colts. And they're probably a little racier. So, like I said, sometimes the ones that are racy now don't always pan out. But I think right now I got fillies that are just as good as my colts.
How about, are you keeping your colts intact, or has most of them been gelded?
No, I wouldn't say most, but I've cut more of them probably this year than we have. Just, you know, owners are understanding that, you know, in the past they might have waited longer, and sometimes they just never turned out. Not saying if we'd have gelded them earlier they would have, but I think we'd have had a better shot. So now when I tell them, they're okay with it.
Do you geld later on in the season, and if you do, will you bring them back to race that 2-year-old year, or is it basically turned out and come back at 3?
That just all depends on the horse. If we know they have ability and we think gelding will fix it, we'll give them the time, geld them, give them time to get back going, And as long as they act like they came out of it and want to go forward, then, we'll race them. If they act like they're not going, they generally don't stay around. We generally sell them.
You have owners here all the time, every day that we're here, and we've interviewed a few of your owners. How wonderful is it to be able to come out and watch your horses?
I'll tell you, I always thought it'd be great, and it's even better than I could have imagined. It's just fabulous. We've got a great trainer, we've got decent horses, and it's Florida.
Tell me a little bit about the 2-year-olds that you own this year.
We have 5 with Brian. Probably the best one, we have it down by the Seaside Philly Game, Set, and Match, which Brian has liked since the very beginning. Right now, it's just fun coming up and see the horses and talking to the grooms, and it's a great life. You go back, come watch the horses, go back, pet the horses, talk to the grooms and Brian, and then go to lunch. I mean, it's as good as it can get.
Well, you guys are known for 2-year-old pacing colts. You just had the Ohio 2-year-old pacing colt of the year. He made just under $500,000 Gulf Shores. Now we're down here watching your 2-year-old colts train.
It's fun, and this is the good time of year where you're excited because you feel like you got that opportunity. You never know which one's going to step up.
They seem to really enjoy the fact that they can watch their horses.
Well, this is why we're here, because of them. So we have to try to do it, to please them. But they also work with us too, and they understand, like some people come and they have one in early set, one in a later set. I try to work it where they don't, but Dr. Hutchison and his wife, they're down here for a month, so they come quite a bit. So we get theirs grouped together so they can see them and get out of here. We've had a lot of rain this week, so we've done a lot of training today. So we're just getting done. It's getting late, so the owners stuck around to watch. We had 3 different owners here today, but a couple of them only been here once, so we had to do what we had to do to show them their horses.
To accommodate, and we should note, it is going on 1 o'clock and you are still working. You've just come off the track from your last set of trainers. How many training sets did you actually have today? Because I know you started early and you're still going.
Well, our 3-year-olds early, there was only 2 in several of the sets, and then a couple others. I suppose there was like 3 in a set, so we were probably a little behind today because of those. We had 5 sets of 4 to 5 2-year-olds. And, you just go until you're done.
Let's talk about the older horses. Gulf Shore, let's start with him. How's he coming back this year?
He battled ulcers last year off and on, and before he came back this year, they scoped him at the farm. He wasn't gaining weight like they wanted, and he had him again. We switched medication just here lately, and they healed up pretty quick just from the switch. So right now he's put on weight. He literally looks the part. He's only been in 220. It's up in the air whether he makes the first leg of the sire stake or not.
What is your, this is common, we hear about ulcers. What is your go-to, and what did you just change to? What have you had success in helping that problem?
Well, the main one is GastroGuard, but it's so expensive. Golf was on it and another medicine. I can't tell you what it is off the hand, but he was on 2 things, and he was slow to heal. They took him off of that, and I think Dr. Mathers had actually come up with a Meprazole and Panicure mix, and now Root and Riddle is selling it. And that turned that horse around in less than 2 weeks. He went from healing to healed in 11 days. So we're starting to go more to it. For one, it's cheaper, and it seems to work, so we're going to give it a try this year.
Great. Also out there, very impressed by what I saw on the racetrack of Oakwood Annabella.
She's come back a little tough this year. At the end of the year, she was getting too aggressive, and she started out that way this year. We had her rigged up, and we kind of got her over-rigged to keep her calmed down. And then after a while, that wasn't working. One of the trainers here, Walt Carroll, said, try treating her for EPM. I gave her 2 doses of Baycox. She's like a different horse. Drives so much nicer now. So she's coming back pretty good. She's been in 15 a couple times.
How often do you Baycox? I mean, we hear a lot of people say that EPM is a big problem. What do you recommend there?
Well, that depends on the horse, too. We've had good luck with Baycox, a couple doses, and then switching to the daily EPM. And we're just going to try the Baycox because we had her on the daily for a couple days. It knocked her right off her grain. So we're just going to go with the Baycocks because it helped. It just depends on the horse and how bad they have it or how they're responding to the Baycocks. If that's not working, we try diclazerol paste. And if they're a nice horse and it's really helping, we'll give Baycocks 1 week, the next week diclazerol, the next week Baycocks. We switch back and forth. Now that's during racing season, and as long as they're good horses. We try not to run the bill up, but I'm not very good at that. My bills get out of sight sometimes.
Well, your horses are out of sight. They always look great. Tell us a little bit about the nutrition program that you have down here.
Well, we feed year round, and we feed quite a bit. And then I buy Western alfalfa hay, and it's really rich. And I do that all winter so that they'll really put on weight and bulk up and everything. When I go home, unless I would spend that kind of money, it's very, very expensive to keep on Western hay. I get home and I have decent alfalfa hay, but it's not Western hay. And, so I got to get the weight on them down here before I get home and before I really start tearing into them, because they generally don't gain weight once you really get to qualifying and racing.
Right. Brian, what's the plan for getting the horses out of here? When will you leave? How do you ship them up? How does that, I assume it's a big job.
Well, it is. My wife takes care of that with her and Roger Wallace with J.R. Hutchison. We leave, our first 2 loads leave March 25th. That's about a week and a half earlier than we'd like to have. But J.R. ships a lot of the saddlebred horses down south here, and he does it all summer, so they wanted my date, April 4th. So I had to go earlier, unless it would have been like April 15th, and I couldn't stay that long. So we got 2 loads the 25th, 2 loads on the 27th. They'll all be home.
And you probably can't wait to get home. We talked to your wife, Jenny. She said she's a homebody. She can't wait to get back to the kids and the grandkids.
We've grown into Florida. We used to not like to get down here too early and couldn't wait to get out of here. The last couple years, we have a nice little house, so it's gotten much more comfortable. But, we go home about once every month, and, mainly to see the grandkids, take a little time off. It's getting harder to leave them every time we go home. But they're coming down this Friday. They're going to stay almost 10 days. So, when 10 days up, it'll be time for them to go home too. But within, a couple days after that, we're ready to go home.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time on such a busy day. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
With over 30 years of experience in wealth planning and a lifetime of involvement in harness racing, Matt Franklin at Wire to Wire Wealth can help you build a financial plan that addresses the unique circumstances of those involved in the horse racing industry. Whether you are investing to build wealth, protect your family, or preserve your assets, Matt at Wire to Wire Wealth will work with you through the wealth planning process from start to finish.
Winback Farm of Delaware is proud to present 3 new stallions for 2022. Each with 3-year-old Colt Pacer of the Year, he's watching with over $1 billion in career earnings. Multiple stakes winners sports column with a sizzling 149-1 mark, and Yonkers Trot winner Top Flight Angel with nearly $1 million in career earnings. Also, Heston Blue Chip, a proven sire of stakes winners, will now stand at Diamond Creek Farm of Pennsylvania with earnings over $1.7 million. For more information, visit winbackfarm.com.